Have you been told you have diabetes and your response is, well, of course, because my mom had diabetes, her mother had diabetes, it's hereditary. Well, I will tell you that my life-changing event was when I first interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton, PhD. And I have never been the same again. I have learned from the best, and he is one of the best. So if you've been told that if your parents have diabetes and you're going to get diabetes, well, maybe you will, but it has nothing to do, or maybe very little to do, with your DNA. And today, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is highly respected, internationally recognized leader that bridges the gap between science and spirit. He also is a stem cell biologist. He's a best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, The Spontaneous Evolution, and The Honeymoon Effect. He's one of my favorite teachers that I've ever encountered in the classroom for over 13 years. And so today he's going to be talking to us about it's not just your DNA that creates disease.
And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
Hi, my name is Lily McDermott, and I am the certified life coach and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show, Classroom. If you're here for the first time because you heard Dr. Bruce Lipton is going to be in the classroom, then please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Like I've said, over the last 13 years, I've had the pleasure of interviewing incredible teachers. One of those incredible teachers is Bruce Lipton, PhD. He changed my life. And after it's been a while since he's been in the classroom, I want to say somebody pinch me, because he is back into the classroom, and I'm excited to introduce him to you if you've never met him before. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so honored that Dr. Bruce Lipton is in the classroom. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Lipton, or you said not to call you Dr. Lipton, so
Right. It's
call you Bruce?
basically called Bruce.
Call you Bruce. I will call
Should I
you
try
Bruce.
Lily or Lillian?
You can call me whatever you want. Lily is,
Okay, beautiful Lily. Okay, I can
okay,
start with that.
like a flower, Lily like a flower. So let's talk about you, Bruce. You have changed my life. It's so nice to be able to talk to you all these years later and tell you what a difference you've made in my life. You've changed the way I've looked at dis-ease. And so share a little bit about your background, because you were teaching doctors how to look at DNA as being, we were victims of our DNA. So share a little bit about your background and what led you down this path.
Well, I really love sharing it, but I just want to make one little correction. You change your life. I want people to understand, I don't change lives. Knowledge is power. And when you have the knowledge of what you don't understand right now, it can change your life. And so I want to give you the credit, Lily, because you're the one that did the work. And so I'm not a pill. I just offer some information. But we all have our own responsibility, which is an emphasis that you are offering and telling people about, because it's really we have some misunderstanding that we are victims of the world, and that we are powerless. And it's like, no, complete opposite. We are the creators of our life. And then if you look at your life and you say, I wouldn't create that, well, we're going to talk about how come maybe what you're creating is not what you really want. So we're going to talk about that. But Lily asked me to start off with what was it that changed my life? And I was a professor in a medical school and teaching students about genes controlling life. And I say, what was I teaching? Think about this for a second. We were teaching that heredity is what controls the character of your life. And then I say, well, as far as you know, did you pick the genes you came with? And the answer is no, I don't think so. And I said, but more importantly, if you don't like the characteristics, can you change the genes that you came with? And I say, no. And then we added this little hooker that genes turn on and off by themselves. And I said, well, what are we teaching? Put those facts together and say, what are we teaching? I said, we are teaching the belief that you are a victim of your heredity. That's what is running through your family is genetically encoded, and that if you receive the genes, then you are going to be susceptible to all those things, such as she mentioned diabetes, especially diabetes type 2, which has nothing to do with genetics and everything to do with lifestyle. And just for another one, just so you know, help blow your mind a little tiny bit, there's not one gene that causes cancer. There's no gene. You have this gene, you get cancer. There's no gene that does that. Genes are correlated with disease, but not the cause of disease. And just to give you a little insight to that, you know, again, just like, well, that sounds so strange. I go, listen to this. They follow the fate of what happens when a child is adopted into a family where there's cancer running in the family. The net result is the adopted child will get the same family cancer. But the point is the adopted child has totally different genetics. And the issue then, how is cancer propagated? And it's not through genetics, it's through what we call programming. I say, well, where does all this come about? And then now, as Lily requested, let's go back to ground zero where my life changed. Again, I was teaching people were victims of their heredity to medical doctors. I was teaching that. But in a lab, I was working on stem cells. And you say, what is a stem cell? And I can tell you, very important. It's another word for embryonic cell. The moment before you were born, I would do a little histology and say, hey, that right there is an embryonic cell. If I did the same biopsy 1 minute after you were born, look at the very same cell, and I go, that's a stem cell. So I want people to know you have embryonic cells for your body. And I go, first of all, let's straighten out an illusion. When you look in the mirror and see yourself, you see a single entity, okay? And I go, that's the illusion. I go, what do you mean? A human is made out of 50 trillion cells. The cells are the living entity. By definition, then who am I? Who are you? By real definition, you're a community of 50 trillion cells. Now I'll give you another fact that is a little startling for a lot of people, and that is this. Every second, and we've just been through a whole bunch of them, every second, you lose 3.5 million cells die every second. I go, what? I go, every second you're losing 3.5 million cells out of your 50 trillion. I say, so what does that mean? At the end of the day, you've lost over 300 million cells. And I say, you know what's interesting? You're still here. And I said, but every day you're losing 300 million cells every day. I go, how can you still be here? And the answer is, you have stem cells. Those are the embryonic cells that replace the ones that are dying every day. So you lose 300 million, you make 300 million. So if you have any question about, do I have stem cells? The answer is, if you're watching this program, then of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So let's go with that. And I say, so what about stem cells? Embryonic cells. I was cloning stem cells back 1967, which is more than a few years ago. Matter of fact, maybe some of you weren't even born, possibly, which I believe. And
No, I was very much born, very much
you were
born.
there?
Yeah.
You were so young, Lily. Come on.
1963. Yes.
Whoa. You are wonderfully and healthy human person there,
Thank
lady.
you. Well, my cells have been reactivating since I met you. Keep
So
going.
the point is, I was cloning cells, and you say, what the heck is that? I say, I put just one cell in a petri dish by itself, one stem cell. It divides every 10 hours. So first there's one, then there's two, then there's four, then there's eight. It's doubling, doubling, doubling. At the end of the week, I have 30,000 cells in the petri dish. Now, here's what's the important part. They all came from the same parent. So I have 30,000 genetically identical cells. That's what cloning is all about. Now, what is my experiment? I divide the cells into 3 petri dishes. So each cell's got 10,000 dishes, 10,000, 10,000, but all dishes genetically identical. And in the lab, we grow cells in a culture dish. We grow them in an environment that is called culture medium. This is going to be really important in a minute. So you just hold on to this. Culture medium, it's the environment that we create in the lab, a fluid that is the environment that cells grow in. And since I create in the lab, I can change some of the composition of our culture medium. So I made 3 slightly different versions of culture medium. So the culture medium is the environment for the cells. So 3 dishes, genetically identical cells, but each dish had a slightly different culture medium environment. So there were 3 different environments. After 3 days, one environment, environment A, the cells form muscle. In a second dish with a different environment, the cells form bone. And in a third dish with a different environment, the cells form fat cells. Well, what hit me right away was like, wait a minute, they're all genetically identical. What determined, why should it be muscle or bone or fat? What is the determining character? And the answer was the environment. The environment determined which genes were going to be expressed. Okay, so that's like, wow, that's really cool. The culture medium environment determines the genetic activity. Now, here's an interesting little story, and that is this. When you look at yourself in the mirror, as I mentioned, you look and see a single entity, I say, no, you are a skin-covered petri dish. And inside that skin, you've got 50 trillion cells. And you have the original culture medium. Yes, what is culture medium? It is based on the chemistry of the blood. So if I grow human cells in the lab, I say, what is human blood made out of? And then I make that chemistry and mix it up, and that's the culture medium. Well, so basically it says this, you're a skin-covered petri dish with culture medium in it. I go, yeah, but the point of the research shows it was the culture medium environment that controlled the genetics, the chemistry of the culture medium. So I go, so I say, well, you're making culture medium. You're creating the chemistry. Now comes a very important question. Well, then what part of your body is controlling the chemistry of your blood, the culture medium? The answer is the brain is the chemist. Now comes the biggest question, and the most important question is, so what chemistry should the brain be putting into the blood? And the answer is this. Whatever picture you hold in your mind, the brain translates that picture into complementary chemistry. I'll give you an example. If you have a picture of love in your mind, the brain releases love chemistry, which is what? Oh, dopamine for pleasure. That's why we love, love is pleasure. Okay. Oxytocin. Yeah, that's the chemistry that bonds you to your lover. Another interesting one is vasopressin. That makes you more attractive so your lover stays with you. And the big one is, you ready? Growth medium. I go, what's that? And I said, at the hormone, it does just what it said. It enhances your growth. So I say, a picture in your brain of love releases dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, and growth medium. I said, what's the result of that? Healthy vitality. When people are in love, they grow, they glow. They just, oh, look how they glow. They're so in love. Look how healthy they are. They're so in love. I go, that's not a coincidence. That's chemistry. But I said, wait a minute, same person, but they have a picture of fear. I go, fear does not release love chemistry. Fear releases different chemistry. Fear releases stress hormones such as cortisol. It releases hormones that affect the immune system and cause it to be inhibited when it's functioning. And I go, well, wait a minute. So whatever picture I'm holding up here in my head, my brain is going to translate that so my body matches the picture. If I have a picture of love, then my body is ready for love. If I have a picture of fear, I'm ready for protection. That's a whole different response. So all of a sudden I say, so what was the point of this? And the answer was, everyone says that genes were controlling the cells. The point is, no, this is total false understanding. A gene is a blueprint. I go, so what does that mean? I go, it's simple. Go into an architect's office and let's say she's working on a blueprint and you look over her shoulder and you say, excuse me, is your blueprint on or off? She would look at you like, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off. Aha! Aha! That's it. What's the point? Genes are blueprints. They can't turn themselves on and off. You need an architect. Ooh, who's the architect? The mind is the architect. Whatever that mind can manifest in its picture, the body will become a complement to that picture. And all of a sudden I say, wow, this is so really critical. Why? You are not a victim of your heredity. You're a victim, if anything, of the vision in your mind. I go, the mind is the controller. And then all of a sudden I get the mind, the mind.
Mhm.
No, there are two minds. And if you don't know the difference, then your whole life is completely not going to make any sense at all. I say, what is the difference? The latest evolution of the brain is called the conscious mind, which is right behind your forehead. The previous, all that mind, which is most of 90% of your head here, is called subconscious. And remember, the word sub means below. So the operations of the subconscious mind operate below your awareness. What's your body temperature? How do you digest your food? Who controls the muscles when you're walking? These are all not controlled by the mind. They're controlled below the subconscious mind, okay? So I say, so what's the difference? And now comes the important point, and the difference is this. The conscious mind is the creative mind. That's its function, creativity, imagination. If you can imagine it, you can create it. That's what makes humans different than lower animals. We can think of things and imagine and then move into our imagination and manifest it, okay? So I say, yep, the function of the conscious mind is creative. And I go, and what about the subconscious mind? I go, aha, that is programmed. I say it's a program. There's no creativity. You learn things and they become programs. You learned how to walk. When did you learn how to walk? Before you were 2. Are you still walking? You could be 102 and you're still walking. I say, that's a program. You don't have to think about it. Take left step, right step. You don't have to think about that. You don't even have to say I'm walking. You just have an intention. I'm going. You automatically are walking. So I say, well, who controls the walking? It's a program. And I say, well, that's great, because the programs can help us. If we have something complicated, we can learn, and then we don't have to relearn again. If you drive a car, you practice driving a car, and now you know how to drive a car in your program, okay? And the first day you got in the car, you look, it's like, oh my God, there are mirrors and gauges, and there are sounds and pedals on the floor, and oh, so many things. And I say, today you drive in the car, you just put the key in, you're thinking about, I'm going to the store. You're not even thinking about the details of driving. I go, why? You don't have to. You got a program. So I go, oh, programs are great, because a program then means I can do something without rethinking it. I don't have to think how to walk. I don't think how to talk, how to drive a car. Programs, okay? So the brain is not like a computer. The brain is a computer. And I say it is a computer, and it has the same functional characters as even your home laptop computer. I say, so let's compare for a second. First, let's talk about the computer and recognize I'm talking about the brain, okay? You, old days, buy a computer, bring it home, brand new, plug it in, push start, screen lights up. Oh, it's booted. Computer's ready. And I say, okay, let's use our new computer. And you go, I can't. I said, what do you mean? You just got a brand new computer. You say, not until I put programs in the computer can I access the computer. So the first thing is the screen boots up, it says it's ready. The second thing is you download programs, and they're in the hard drive, programs, okay? But once you have the programs in, then you, the creator, can consciously type on the keys and put your information in. And that's when you take control of the program, okay? Now, this is very true. Now, the question is, of course, where'd you get the programs? Ha! Understand this. When you grow up in a family, how many rules do you have to know to be a functional member of that family? There are many more rules that you have to know to be a functional member of the community. I said, well, when's the child going to learn these rules? Thousands of rules. I say, you can't send them to school. The infant can't read a book, can't sit in a classroom, can't do any of that. I said, wow, how can a child learn thousands of rules? And I go, nature already planned it. I said, what did nature do? The first 7 years of your life, your brain is not functioning at the creative level. Your brain is functioning at what we call a lower vibration called theta vibration. Putting wires on a person's head, I could read your brain activity, and there are different levels of energy. Below consciousness is a vibration called theta. And theta, in the character of a child, which is 7 years, theta is expressed as imagination. Yes, that famous tea party. I poured nothing into this cup. I drank nothing, and it was the best tea I ever had. The broom. Mom says, give me the broom, and you look at her like, I don't know what you're talking about. Why? Because it's a horse for you. It's not a broom. Imagination. Theta is imagination and hypnosis. So I say, then where'd you get your programs? And here it is, folks. From the last trimester of pregnancy through the first 7 years, your brain is operating at theta as the predominant activity. Theta, imagination and function, but theta is hypnosis. I go, significance. You want to learn the rules of living in a family and community? Watch. Watch your mother, watch your father, watch your siblings. You're watching their behavior, and guess what? In theta, you're downloading those behaviors. And so then you watch your community, see all the rules. I say, what are you doing? Downloading the rules. So by just observing the world for the first 7 years, those observations are translated into programs in your subconscious hard drive. Okay? So I say, so what's the relevance? Well, number one is this: the conscious mind has your wishes and desires. I asked Lily, I said, Lily, tell me what you want out of your life. Lily's going to give me an answer. It's going to be creative. I say, where are you getting it from? Conscious mind. That's its job, creativity. Okay. Now, the monkey wrench in the machine, and let's get right to it. The biggest thing right here in this machine is this: the conscious mind is creative, the subconscious mind is programming. Okay. But the conscious mind can do two things that are not the same. The conscious mind, imagine for a second your body's like a vehicle and your eyes are the windshield, and you're looking out and you're driving your life. When you're driving with a conscious mind, creative, you're driving to wishes and desires. Okay. So I say, yep, that's one of the things conscious mind can do. Look out your eyes and drive your vehicle to the destination of choice. But the other thing is the conscious mind can think. Like, what does that mean? Thinking is not looking out. Thinking is looking in. When you're in a thought process, the conscious mind is it's not looking out the window anymore. It's inside. You know, we're recording on Tuesday, and I say to Lily, Lily, tell me what you're doing on Thursday. It's not written in front of her, but in a minute, she'll say, oh, on Thursday, I'm doing this and this and this. I go, where'd you get that? She thought about it. I said, what does that mean? She went into her mind and went back into the back cobwebby part there where all the programs are, the little desk set with all the little things you got to remember. And she said, oh, on Thursday, I'm doing this. I go, really interesting. Now, what was the issue? If you're looking out at the eyes, you're controlling where your body is going, creativity. If you're looking in and thinking, you're not controlling your biology in the world anymore. I say, yeah, but what if you're driving the car? And I go, you've done this all the time. You don't even know it, but I'll tell it to you right now. You're driving the car and you're thinking, I got to go to the store and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And then you look out the window and you realize you haven't paid attention to the road. I say, of course you didn't pay attention. Why? You were thinking. I go, holy Jesus, you were driving the car and you weren't paying attention? I go, yeah, but the subconscious mind, you programmed it how to drive the car. And the subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful a computer than the conscious mind. So in fact, even if a car starts to go in an accident, the conscious mind is actually shut off because the subconscious mind is faster in making a response and it'll do whatever has been programmed, okay? So here's the point. We just said it and I didn't emphasize it, and the answer is this. Are you creating the life you have? And I go, yes. But are you creating it with the conscious mind, wishes, and desires? Or is your life a creation from the programs you downloaded from other people? I go, what's the difference? I say, other people's programs didn't answer your wishes and desires and where you want to go. So their programs, and if they had a faulty program, you copied it and you downloaded their faulty program. Cancer is a faulty program. If you grew up raised in a family where cancer is running in the family, in those formative years, you were misprogrammed to not live in harmony with the consequence of expressing the family cancer. And that's why cancer is in families, not because of genes. It's in families because of programming. So now we're going to give you a very interesting fact about health. Less than 1% of all the diseases on this planet, less than 1% are due to genetics. 90% or more of your life programs are actually created in the mind through stress. Stress is the cause of cardiovascular disease. Stress is the cause of cancer. Stress is the cause of diabetes. I go, well, what's stress? Well, let's simplify it. You have a destination, I don't care which one it is, and something interferes with you getting to that destination, that thing that interferes is called stress. In other words, you have a plan and something takes you off the plan. Whatever's taking you off the plan is, by given definition, a stressor. It prevents you from getting there. So I say, wow, it could be any damn thing. You know, I wanted to buy a new car. I went to the bank. Oh, couldn't get enough money. Stress right away. Okay. My job isn't working right and I can't change the boss and I can't change it and I'm getting all the stress. I go, yep, that takes over. I go, why does stress take over? And the answer is, there's an ancient reason. I go, what is it? Well, consider this. The body has two main functions. It can grow and it can protect itself. These are two different functions. I go, what do you mean? Well, to grow, you go to a stimulus, be it food, love, destination. You grow, you go to a stimulus with your arms open, taking it in. Love, I go to the source, arms open, take love in, I grow, okay? Protection, complete opposite. Whatever that stimulus is that's threatening you, you don't go to it, you go away from it. And you don't go with your arms open, you go with yourself closed, because that's protection. So I say growth to the stimulus, arms open. Protection, go away from the stimulus, arms closed. You can't go both directions, forwards and backwards, and you can't be open and closed at the same time. So the point is this: your life activity is based on whether you're performing in stress or you're performing in a period of growth. Well, 90% of illness is the stress consequence. I go, what was the result of that? I said, that was the vision back of hundreds of thousands of years ago. I said, what was your stressor? I said, that saber-toothed tiger. And I go, saber-toothed tiger? Yeah. I said, what am I going to do? I don't run like hell. I need to protect myself. I don't go to the tiger. I go the opposite way as fast as I possibly can. I'm going to give you the reason now for the health crisis, okay? Whether it's running away from the tiger or running away from the fact that you're not in harmony with your life, or the job sucks, or your environment is not supporting you, those are stressors, okay? The issue is this: you release stress hormones. And I say they did the same thing as they did from the tiger. And I say, what was that? Get you ready for fight or flight. Stress means I'm in the wrong place, okay? And I got to go. So listen to this, and this will explain the health crisis of the entire planet. I go, what is it? I go, when you're running away from a tiger, what of your biological systems do you need to be working best to get away from that tiger? And the answer is your arms and legs, because they're going to carry you away. Fight or flight, they call it. I go, well, what's the significance? I say, well, and this is it. Anything that you do in your biology requires energy to fund the mechanism. Okay. And I say, what carries energy in your body? I say, the blood is the carrier of energy. So I'm saying, okay, let's say there's no saber-toothed tiger. We're a bunch of hunter-gatherers. We're around a bush. We're picking fruit and we're eating fruit. And I go, so what's going on? I say, the system is in a state of growth. Take the food in, goes into the gut. What's the gut do? All the maintenance of the body. The gut brings in the nutrition. It filters the existing system. It replaces the parts that aren't working right. It nourishes and does all these things. So when you're not in a stress place, guess where your blood is? It's concentrated in your gut. Why? The maintenance of your life and your body. Okay. So I go, that's the function. Okay. And I go, but what happens if the saber-toothed tigers come? I say, no, I need the blood in my arms and legs because that's what I need, the energy to make them work. So I say, listen, this is out of a physiology book. When stress hormones are released into the body, the blood is preferentially sent to the arms and legs. Preferentially? Yes. Where was it before I was running? In my gut. Doing what? Service. But now the tiger's there, I need the blood in my arms and legs. So guess what? And you've experienced it. Stress hormones cause the blood vessels in the gut to squeeze shut. And when they squeeze shut, it pushes the blood to the arms and legs. Okay? You felt the blood vessel squeezing shut. It gives you a queasy feeling in your gut when you get afraid. You can feel it's just queasy, or what they also refer to as butterflies in the stomach. That's the closing of the blood vessels, the fluttering. Okay? So I say, what's the first consequence of stress? Number one, you shut down the maintenance and growth of the body and preferentially send the blood to run. Okay? What else? There are two protection systems. Immune system protects you from a threat on the inside. Adrenal system protects you from the threat on the outside. So I go, excuse me, the immune system uses a lot of energy. How do you know? Answer, if you've ever been sick, excuse me, you probably didn't have the energy to get out of bed. Immune system uses a lot of energy. Okay, now, scenario. You're picking berries off the bush with all of your hunter-gatherer friends. A saber-toothed tiger shows up, but you also have a little bit of bacterial infection. Could get some diarrhea through this, you know. I say, okay, here's the point. You need energy for the immune system. You need energy for the adrenal system. How are you going to divide the energy? Nature already took care of that. When the saber-toothed tiger comes, it doesn't make a difference about the immune system. Why? If the saber-toothed tiger catches you, the immune system, too late, you're food, okay, at that point. So you don't need the immune system if you're running away from something like a saber-toothed tiger. Fact, and it's a fact, stress hormones shut down the immune system to conserve energy to run away from the threat. I go, oh, I say, that really does that? I go, it does it so well that when doctors want to transplant an organ from person A and put that organ into person B is their immune system will say that's foreign cells, those are foreign organ. That the immune system's job is to eliminate it. But you need the organ, so how do you do it? And the answer is they give the recipient of the organ stress hormones. And when they have stress hormones, the immune system does not attack the foreign tissue. That's how stress hormones are used therapeutically to shut off the immune system. Yeah, but if you're an office worker, you're out there in the street, you're a student, you're a housewife, you're a house husband, whatever the hell you're doing, if you're in a stress situation, then the immune system is going to be shut down and the growth and maintenance is going to be shut down. And I said, well, why is this a problem? I say, because let's go back to when it was designed. It was a saber-toothed tiger. I say, so what was the point? I say, well, how long does it take to get away? Let's say you run for 10 minutes and you escape. Guess what? No more saber-toothed tiger, no more adrenal system. Everything goes back to growth and happiness. You know, the immune system is back, everything is working, everything's great. It was designed for a short period of time to shut things down. But today's world, as we're all aware, and this is where Lily can help you so much, is stress is 24/7, 365. We were never designed to shut off those systems for a period of time as that, because that's when the health starts to fall apart because nothing is maintaining the body. And now I'll add the third thing. First thing, remember, shut down the blood vessels and the growth and maintenance of the body. Number two, shut down the immune system so that energy can be used to deal with the external threat first. And number three, the conscious mind is a great processor, but it's very slow. The subconscious mind is a supercomputer. It's extremely fast, okay? So the point about it is this: when you're in a stressful situation, can you rely on conscious thinking to help you get out of that stressful situation? I say no. I go, why not? Because when I said the stress hormones cause the blood vessels in the gut to squeeze shut, they also cause the blood vessels in the forebrain to squeeze shut. I say, why? Because then the blood gets pushed to the hindbrain, where reactions and reflexes are instantaneous. So I say, so what does it mean? When you're under stress, you're less intelligent. You're not thinking now, you're just responding, you're reacting, and you've lost the power. You have no power, you're in reaction. No consciousness is involved in this. And I go, so what's the issue? And I go, stress is our way of life on this planet. And the healthcare crisis, as I mentioned, is a global crisis. And I go, yeah, as it due to genes? Because everyone thinking, well, let's control the genes. I say, it had nothing to do with the genes at all. That the stress is a mind control, which determines what chemistry is going to go into the body. And that chemistry in turn is going to regulate the functions and the genetic activity. So all of a sudden I say, well, wait, then genes don't control this. I go, no, genes have no ability to control. They're just blueprints. They cannot turn on and turn off. You've heard that your whole life, 100% false. A gene is a blueprint. It can be read or not read, but the reader is not the blueprint. It's the architect. I say, the architect, the mind. And all of a sudden I say, oh my God, you've been programmed to believe you're a victim of your heredity. Oh, there are genes for cancer and genes for diabetes and cardiovascular disease, and I'm going to get the gene and I'm going to be a victim and I'm going to get sick. And I go, 100% false. Your mind is what controls your genetic activity. It's a new science. Genetics is what you learn. That was the old science. Genes turn on, genes turn off, and control your function. The new science is called epigenetics. You may have heard of, but you have to understand what it means. Epi means above. We call skin. What do you think we call it? Epidermis. I say, why? Because just below the surface, there's another layer called dermis, and the top layer is above the dermis. It's epidermis. I say, what's epigenetics? Control epi above the genes. The mind controls your genes. That the diseases that we express, less than 1% of them are actually written into the genes. And if you understand this, and all of a sudden I say, well, let's get the hell out of this healthcare crisis. I say, you don't need pharmaceutical drugs. Pharmaceutical drugs are intended to fix things below the neck. I say, yeah, but the cause of things was above the neck. So I don't care how many drugs you take down here to fix this. It doesn't alter the cause. You can kill all the cancer cells you want. Did you stop the creation of cancer cells? I say, no, you just got rid of the cells that were already created. You never changed where's the cancer coming from. It's consciousness. And this is why Lily's work is the most fundamental way of interacting with your health. The idea is, it's not medicine, folks, it's consciousness that determines it. Your life is a manifestation of your consciousness. Well, not really. It's a manifestation of your subconscious. I go, why? Because the conscious creative mind is thinking 95% of the day, and therefore running the machine for 95% of the day has nothing to do with your wishes and desires, conscious mind, because 95% of the day you're just playing the programs that you downloaded from other people, dysfunctional programs that take you away from your destination. Personal story for me. My mother and father had a dysfunctional relationship, but I was a child in the family, and my job was to watch my father, watch my mother, and see how people behave, download those behaviors. So what did I download? My father's dysfunctional behavior, because that's what he was expressing. That's what I saw. That's what I downloaded. Result, I could not get a relationship off the ground for nearly 50 years. Why? Because although I could start a relationship, my subconscious programs inevitably threw a monkey wrench in there because I started playing dysfunctional behaviors that I downloaded from my father and lose all the relationships. It was only when I became aware, wait a second, programming, first 7 years, that put those fundamental programs in my system that are operating 95% of the day are dysfunctional. I need to change the program. I don't change the world. I change the program. The world changes after I do this. You go, well, that's so new agey. I go, no. It is the foundation of the most valid science on planet Earth. And I said, what is that science? Quantum physics. I've heard about it. That's strange, quantum physics. You don't know quantum physics, but quantum physics is the most valid science. And the first principle of quantum physics from 1927 is consciousness is creating your life experience. That is from the most valid science on the planet. And what is so unique about quantum physics? I say, well, the physics that you and I learned when we grew up was called Newtonian or classical physics. I said, what about it? I said, it divided the universe into two realms: energy realm, invisible; material realm, physical. And it emphasized that whatever is made out of something physical can be affected by something physical. Whatever is made out of energy can be affected by something out of energy, but that energy and matter don't interact. I said, so what happened in that belief system? Consciousness, which is an energy. I say, yeah, why? Oh, give me 1.5 pounds of consciousness. There's not consciousness is energy. I give you 1.5 pounds of liver, but I can't do that with consciousness. So the point about it is this: consciousness is an energy field. And when science established itself with Newtonian physics, it disconnected the mind from the body and created the difference between what is called physics and metaphysics. Physics is the mechanical working with the physical body. Metaphysics, accordingly, has no scientific foundation, such as spirituality and all that kind of stuff like that. There's no, where is that? I can't see it. I go, metaphysics. And we took that out of medicine. Medicine has become the third leading cause of death in the United States because it has misunderstood the nature of the physics, and most specifically misunderstanding the nature of genetics, still considering the fact that genes control life when no, they don't. All the research is, let's find the gene that causes this, and let's find the gene that causes that. And I say, genes didn't cause. Consciousness caused. Consciousness is physics of the quantum variety, energy physics. And I go, so what's the point about this? And the point is this: consciousness is energy. That in physics, we talk about the energy you're in right here. It's called the field. Wonderful book Lynn McTaggart wrote called The Field. You're in energy. I don't care where you are right now. Why? Wherever you're sitting right now, cell phone broadcasts are running through your field, television broadcasts, radio broadcasts, even solar energy is affecting your energy field. I guess, so what's the point? The principle of quantum physics, here it is, Albert Einstein. The field is the sole generating factor in organizing matter. The field organizes matter. I say, but the field is invisible energy. I go, yes, it's the thought fields, it's the energy fields that shape your life, not the physical things. They respond to the energy fields. But the physical things themselves in quantum physics turn out to be not physical, because when they took the atom apart in quantum physics, before they took the atom apart, you saw an image of a little solar system, a nucleus with protons and neutrons and electrons spinning all around. That's just smaller particles. Quantum physics finally said, what are those small things made out of? And when they took them apart, there was nothing physical inside. There were energy vortices, like nano tornadoes of energy. That's what atoms are. And all of a sudden it said, well, then atoms aren't made out of anything physical. I go, nope, they're just a form of energy. Everything is energy. And the point about it is the shaping energy is of the conscious variety, the mind's energy. Your thoughts are turned into energy, which then create the field. And that field is what shapes you. Now, the problem, and I'm going to leave it up to Lily in a second, is this. You're the creator. That's what it is in quantum physics. And I'm sure you're going to look at the world and go, I wouldn't have created this. I go, well, the truth is you created it, but you didn't know. And I said, what did I didn't know? I say, you didn't know that the moment you were thinking, your behavior was now controlled by the programs that other people, and you don't see it. Why? Because you're inside thinking. You don't see what's coming out.
That's right. That's right.
And the point about it is this, then your life is not coming from your wishes and desires. It's coming from your program. And that's what runs in families that cause all the problems. Relationships, psychology, health issues. These are downloaded programs. But you don't see you're playing the program, because when you're thinking, that's when the programs are automatic, they're autopilot, subconscious autopilot. You don't see your own behavior. And I told this story, I'm sure, in 2016, but I'll just do one quick wrap up on it. It's very simple. You have a friend, you know your friend's behavior very well. You happen to know your friend's parent. One day you see your friend has the same behavior as the parent, and you offer as, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. And I said, I know the answer and you know the response. And the response is this, Bill's going to say this, how can you compare me to my dad? I am nothing like my dad. You've heard it. And the point about it is this. What does it mean? It means this. Where did he get the program from? Downloaded from his dad. Why is he playing the program? Because he's thinking. Then he doesn't see the program, but everybody else sees the program. And everybody else's behavior is connected to the program he's playing, not to Bill. He's not there. And so the idea is this. Then Bill feels he's a victim. Why? Well, I wanted to be successful. Then how come all these things people are getting that person interfered with me. That person caused the problem. I'm a victim. These people, I go, wait a minute. You were playing negative programs they responded to, but you're the one that didn't see the program. So guess what? You're responsible for everything. Oh no, this is what Lily says. Oh my God. Yeah, but it's the true science. You're responsible when you're creating the stuff you really like. And you're responsible, unfortunately, when the world looks like it's turning against you and you thought I was the victim. And then you realize, oh my God, my programs have made me the victim. So you're the creator and the victimizer all in one.
And this is life-changing information. It's really life-changing information. I want to take a little moment before we go because I need to talk about my website. And just know, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, and this is where we take 100% responsibility for our life. And as I always say, we need to be our own MD, our own medical detective, and figure out some of the things that we keep doing and why we're doing it and how things are created. And all of a sudden your life will change too. So when you come to whenyouneedafriend.com, please subscribe, like, and follow me on all social media. Look at my sponsors page, support my sponsors the way that they're supporting the classroom. And you can also go to my Shop Now bag and go check out all that information, Lilly approved products. But one thing that I would like for you to share, you to know that on April 6th, we're going to be doing the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. The I Am is that higher power, that voice in our head that allows us to create the way that we want to create as opposed to what we don't want to create. This information that we're hearing today is powerful information. If you choose, it can too change your life. So last but not least, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, a one-time donation, whatever it is that you can give. The classroom needs your help. So please give generously, and with that, God loves a happy giver. So anything that you can give, we will appreciate, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure. Now, one of the things, Bruce, that I did not hear you say, which was very important to me and very crucial when you were talking about the 3 Petri dishes that you created, and you were talking about at the beginning. The one Petri dish that you also created was a sick Petri dish,
Oh, that
And
was a different experiment. Yeah.
that was a different experiment. So
Yeah.
we have we don't have much time left, maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. Would you share the story of the Petri dish? Because that was life-changing to me. What?
Yeah.
And because my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. And it's not that I'm against the pill, but I'm for taking ownership. And this story kind of created it for me. So share
Well,
about the Petri dish with the sick one.
no, I hope that's it. It's just that when I make the medium, the culture medium environment, the equivalent of the blood, and I put the healthy things in it, such as the chemistry of love, into that culture medium, the cells grow luxuriantly. They're beautiful. If I compromise and put in lesser quality chemistry into that petri dish, then the cells start to get sick. You can even watch them get sick in minutes. They'll just get sick and they'll start to die right in front of your face. And the idea about it is what? I said, you are creating culture medium. There's two aspects to culture medium: nutrition and information. The nutrition part is very critical. Why? Because that's where you're getting the energy and the building blocks. But the nutrition in our world today sucks because industrial farm food has actually made very red tomatoes with no quality of nutrients. The food has been chemically and genetically altered to make it look good, last longer, but in the process, it has lost nutritional value. Then the idea is this: if I'm feeding my cells, I'm going to look for organic, natural, healthy food as a source. Then secondly, not only is it the nutrition, it's the chemistry. And I say that chemistry of consciousness. I say, what are your thoughts? And if you start to look at your thoughts, you're going to find that most of those thoughts are, this isn't going to happen, that won't work, I can't do this. And you start to realize, what are you saying? Because if you can stop for long enough to look at your own thoughts, you're going to hear yourself say so many negative, disempowering things. And I say, yeah, well, you say those things, but guess what? They're translated into chemistry that says the same thing to the body. If you don't believe you can make it, then you're telling yourselves we can't make it, and they won't make it. You are manifesting your belief. And that's why it's so important, and why Lily really emphasized the fact is this. Yeah, take credit when it really works great. But please take credit, unfortunately, when it's not working, because if you do, then you have an option to change it. And that is the nature of the game. Can you change your consciousness? And the whole idea is yes, you can. And Lily's work is so critically important and to facilitate a mechanism. You can't, it's very hard to do it yourself. I'm going to change my mind. I go, I didn't do anything. I just thought about it. Changing your mind is a process, and it's facilitated. And I encourage all of you to look at Lily's program and join. Why? You need to take your power back, the power that you didn't even know you had. And I say, so what's the result? And the answer is this: my dysfunctional relationship I learned from my father kept me from a relationship. Those programs have changed. When I met Margaret when I was 50, guess what? 28 years of honeymoon to this very day. Why? The honeymoon was a change in consciousness. I rewrote the programs of dysfunction, and then I wrote a book called The Honeymoon Effect, which emphasizes what Lily is trying to help you with. And so therefore, yeah, it's very hard to do it on your own. A facilitator is very helpful because they present something to you that your mind's not seeing. And therefore, please, please take your power back and do this with the aid of someone like Lily.
Oh.
Who can help you understand maybe your program is not supporting you. Well, you know it's not supporting you. You're the one experiencing it.
Yeah.
Is your life heaven on earth? No, there's a misprogram. Because you created the honeymoon. You lost it because of the program, but the conclusion is simple. You created it. You can have it all you want. Just rewrite those programs that took it away.
And that's the good news. And that's the good news. If we created it, we can uncreate it. And I remember asking you that question: how can we increase our conscious mind so that we're more creative, and decrease our subconscious mind so that we can have less of these thoughts? And you're like, nope, you've got to rewrite the program. And that has been my whole mission since I learned it from you in 2012, 2013 was the first time you came into the classroom. And yes, I understand that I chose it. I learned it and I made the change myself. But had you not been like John the Baptist going out there and spreading the good news, this information would have been lost, because it took a lot of courage, Bruce, for you to step out of the box and say, it's not our DNA, it's how we think that manifests and expresses the gene. That's the architect. And you have been an incredible tool of a vessel, not tool, a vessel of wonderful knowledge and information. So I want to thank you for this lesson today, this teachable moment. And I just absolutely adore you. So thank you so much, Bruce, for being a part of the classroom. Any last words before we go?
Yes, I just really want to thank you for what you're doing to help the world evolve. But I want to thank our viewers, because it's those individuals that have a choice, and they can change and manifest heaven on earth as every day of your life, because you've experienced it once, you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we come together and collectively do this, the world will completely change from the chaos we see right now and take it back to the garden that we came into in the first place.
Amen. Amen. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. And that's where, when you change, the whole world change. Bruce, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being part of the classroom. I want everybody to share this video so that the algorithms don't squash it down. Let's start the change. Let's be the change. It's what I always have. I've always had this little patch that metal that says be the change, and that's what I've learned from you. And so thank you so much, Bruce, for everything that you're doing to make the world a better place.
Thank you.
And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Bruce Lipton, PhD, wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job. Thank you so much.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert